The Hedgeless Horseman here. It's October the 15th, 2025. Haven't done a video in quite some time because I've been, well, traveling around a bit, back-to-back conferences, and basically short time to rest in between. And as always, I mean, the workload kind of keeps piling up, and you miss a lot of emails and messages. Then you go away, and then you meet more people, and yeah, it's just very time consuming, and then add the fact that I mean so much stuff is happening in the markets, and I obsess about junior miners most of the time. And also, I would just like to say I met some people at the conferences, etc., but didn't really, especially in Stockholm, have much time to talk to anyone. And yeah, so I mean, I heard somebody who talked to someone who was at conferences, like or some people that I can come off as arrogant, let's say, because I'm relatively bad at answering emails and messages and stuff like that. But people who meet me in real life, I think they find I'm a really nice guy. So my point is that it's not my intent not to respond or have time for people. So I mean, if you have a if you haven't gotten a response to a message or an email, please just keep sending it until I respond. Because most of the time it's the idea is that I'll answer this later, and then a few days go by and it's back on page 6 in the email box, and you're not gonna get to it. I guess I'm too optimistic in that respect, but yeah, so just do that, and of course, I mean, it's hard to respond if I get a full page of containing 15 questions or something like that. So I mean, preferably keep it to the point. But anyway, thanks to the sponsors. I'm gonna try to be kind of quick in this video, like always. That's my top goal, and usually it ends up being 2 hours long, but I got stuff to do I got stuff I should do soon, so I'm gonna try to plow through. Of course, I mean, first of all, metals are absolutely crazy. Gold just keeps going up. It's like you wake up, it's up $100 more. Silver's above at the actual all-time high. So now silver's finally joined gold, making new all-time highs, and of course gold has been making new all-time highs for about a year or something, and that's why I pretty much prefer the gold juniors, because the gold price was so high that the margins were absolutely crazy, and for silvers they haven't typically been that crazy, but more like they could get crazy. I mean, there's one way to look at it, or one way. There's many ways to look at it. We know, for example, Don Durrett likes to plug in a much higher gold and silver price, and then figure out what would something trade at those higher metal prices. So it's kind of the standard win condition is if metals go a lot higher, you'll make a lot of money, and of course that's typically true. I prefer, I don't go about it that way, because I can't predict really. Well, it's not enough of a win condition for me, in a sense. I want the higher silver and gold prices to be a bonus. So yeah, I mean, I prefer to find companies that I think could go up 2 or 3x over the next 2 years or something. And if gold and silver and copper, whatever it is, goes higher as well at the same time, that's great. If things work out, I'm just gonna make more than 2-3x on average. But there's many ways to skin the cat. I mean, producers, etc., have been ripping. I mean, producers overall have probably outperformed my portfolio over the last 1 year, at least 2 years, maybe. I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I missed a lot of that rally, because I'm not really in producers, especially not mature producers. And nowadays, of course, the hot thing is that Trump and U.S. and China, critical minerals, rare earths, yada yada yada. You saw probably, who was it? Was it Trilogy, I think, that got an investment by the U.S. government, and probably some more stuff to it, like they got an okay for the road or something like that, and it's just been on an absolute tear. I think it's up like 300%, 400%. I don't think it's really cheap today, but you can see it's like, personally, I don't really like that stuff where you have a government just putting its blessing on something, and that's win condition in a sense, or you have price floors on metals, etc. Preferably, I would have projects that do well without price floors, because you never know when they go away. That's the thing. So if you have a project that not only, but it's like, it's worth a lot more than it is now, if there's a price floor much higher or something in some metal. I mean, how much margin of safety is that really? And then if you have that, obviously in time more companies will start producing that stuff and get the same price floor, and then they have too much supply basically, and you don't need a price floor anymore because there's so much stuff, so much of that stuff happening. But of course, that's a long-term thing. I mean, I was planning on buying, was it Trilogy? Yeah, Trilogy. As soon as I saw the news, I didn't have a prior position, but I think it's opened up like 200% higher or something, and I'm like, forget about it. And then I think it went up 70% the next day or something. But still, I mean, when it comes down to it, I'm typically not gonna. I mean, you can look at stuff like that and say it's like, whoa. I mean, imagine if I was in, or the next day it went up 70%. But if I don't have conviction, if I don't think something is, let's say, really, really cheap, how much realistically will I put into that position? Not much. So it's like, okay, let's say I dare to put in 1% the day after Trilogy is up 200%, because I think it can go up a bit more than that on hype. So yeah, I missed out 70% on a 1% position, for example. Whereas like, if you find something you think is really, really cheap, risks are to the upside, you're not sitting there waiting for some external thing to happen, like the government putting in an investment and basically just by that fact pumping the shit out of that position, then I can go big. So I mean, if you make 50% on a 10% position versus 200% on a 1% position, the 50% revaluation on the 10% position is going to have a bigger impact on your portfolio. So that's the only thing that matters really is the long-term portfolio returns, not a single case-by-case basis. So I know it's like, even if I saw some juniors that jump up a lot, and I'm like, imagine if I was in before, or let's say you had a lot of it in a junior. But if it's a high-risk junior, it makes no sense really to have a big position. If you do that, you're gambling. That's a topic for another day. But yeah, so everything's going up a lot, and I still really like the second part of the Lassonde curve, because right now, there's probably gold producers out there with 2,500 plus of ASIC margin per ounce produced today. It's just crazy. I mean, gold wasn't even at 2,500 until, what was it, 2023 maybe, or 2024 perhaps. So I mean, we've never seen these kind of profitability on gold production ever. So I don't think the market really fully understands that. I mean, you see the big producers, they keep revaluing, even though anybody can see what the median or mean price of gold was for the quarter that ended, and still it's people are waiting for the quarterly to be up, and it's like, oh, they made even more, like it's a surprise. So if it's lagging that, and you have the fact that nobody who's even played the second part of the Lassonde curve has ever seen ounces worth this much going from development into production. So I think that's still a sleeper. People are used to, oh, you shouldn't value an ounce in the ground more than, $100 per ounce M&I, or 200 if it's proven improbable, or 300, whatever it is. But if you have any ounces that you think can get into production in the next, let's say, 2 years, and you don't think gold is going to drop too much and not go up too much either, and you think that, well, at these gold prices they could have $2,500 in ASIC margin, and you think they could put that in production, I mean, how much should the ounces in the ground be worth, in your opinion, today? Should it be $100? I mean, I think that sounds incredibly low, right? Gold would need to fall, I don't know, by $2,000 or more for that not to be worth more than what you paid today. Or of course, what was I gonna say? Yeah, I mean, if it's a 10-year mine life, if you're valuing everything at $2,500 per ounce, that implies that you're gonna get $2,500 net profit per ounce for the life of mine. I mean, that might not be true, but I hope you get my point, that I still think the market is, well, simply that a gold, or an ounce of gold that's coming out of the ground has never been worth more than today. And by orders of magnitude, basically, especially in dollar terms. So that's what I really like, because I think there's a lot of advanced stage explorers and developers that are not really pricing in the fact that, hey, these ounces could get into production within this cycle, and then that mine would make more money than the current market cap of the companies are. So anyway, I'm gonna speed run here a bit. We just got news that First Nordic is pleased to announce the closing of its previously announced non-broker private placements, and yada yada. So they just closed 80 million. And I believe that a lot of the money comes from I think a lot of money comes from Darren Morecombe and people connected to him, let's say, who probably are in foreign mining and Southern Cross, for example, and those are two $2 billion juniors. One is in development, and the other one is advanced stage exploration in gold. So it kind of gets an idea of what kind of targets he has when he puts his name behind a junior. I mean, it's obvious that he wants to see billion to multi-billion dollar potential. And yeah, so now they probably are the biggest shareholders of First Nordic, so that means obviously that the merger should be basically baked in by now, because a lot of the shareholders that are in Mawson are now some of the large shareholders in First Nordic, and of course they're going to vote that through. And yeah, so I mean, I think basic market cap post financing and post merger would be around 350 million Canadian. Then add some warrants and options, so I don't know exactly how the fully diluted number, but they will have more than $80 million in cash at the same time. So let's say an enterprise value around 275 million Canadian, which is obviously not a lot for this kind of project package or this kind of portfolio to advanced gold deposits, one in PEA, one that could become one that is partial ownership of the largest gold deposit in Sweden. I think Barsele could easily get to 4 million ounces plus, and that's just for Barsele, not accounting for Risberget or the other gold line projects. So yeah, I mean, Nordco, as it will be called, very much one of the gold juniors that I think has the most reason, let's say, to at least double when this merger gets through. And if they get, I mean, it's kind of implied that I'm expecting they also are able to get Agnico on board, because they have the mining team right now. They have the backing. They have money to pay Agnico and all of that. So I mean, it's kind of, they rolled out the red carpet. So I don't see how Agnico doesn't jump on this opportunity, assuming they are not going to develop it themselves. So yeah, I mean, I have very high hopes for Nordco. Again, I think, assuming they consolidate, I think Barsele alone could get to 4+ million ounces. Then they have 1 million ounces in Finland, 300,000 ounces in Ojärvi, of course. But yeah, so Barsele alone, I think, could pass actually Ikkari, and Rupert has a $1.46 billion market cap right now. So there's some obvious revaluation potential. Barsele maybe could get into production in like 5 years, something like that. I expect it to be a high quality, high margin deposit, so you don't need these kind of gold prices. It wouldn't hurt, but if they were able to put that into production and gold is whatever, at around these levels or higher, I mean, I think gold is going to go to 10,000 within 5 years. But yeah, anyway, it's going to be one of the most well-backed gold juniors around. Some of the largest land packages, greatest infrastructure, multi-million ounce deposit, could get to 4, 5, 6 million plus just in Sweden. So it's going to be a rare asset base, plus they have a stellar mine building team. They have Gernot as exploration geologist from Osisko Mining. So it's just going to be, in my opinion, an incredibly rare gold explorer / developer, assuming the merger gets through and they're able to get to consolidate Barsele. Altamira intersect 395 meters, 395.5 meters or 0.4 grams per ton in first deep drill hole at Maria Bonita. Stock sold off a bit today. I think it's down. Let's see. It's down 9.1%. I don't read too much into that, as I wrote here. I mean, I do think a lot of people bought in just hoping to flip, because I mean, when they put out, this drill hole here, it's like, the porphyry extends for more than twice the length of any other drilling, really. And some holes nearby ran like 1 gram or 146, 213.8, 139 at 0.5. The average resource grade right now, I think, is 0.45 grams per ton or something within this pit here. So I mean, of course, if they would put out 400 meters of 1 grams per ton, I mean, this would probably double within a day at least. There's nothing more alluring than quick profits, and you know this. And they say we're all affected by it. So I think that was the thing where you had, great visuals, which they were great visuals, and the idea, well, you have some kind of context here. So it wasn't like 1 gram per ton, it was 0.4 grams per ton. That's higher than what Kinross is mining at Paracatu 2. And I made the comment, I mean, imagine if this was a copper explorer, junior copper explorer, and they put out a hole that was 400 meters of 0.4% copper starting from surface, and they have 11 near surface porphyries. I think that would turn some heads. But since this is gold, but it has kind of the, really, really bulk type widths and grades, etc. I think it kind of gets lost on, the gold folks in a sense. Because most of the time you don't see 0.4 and think, whoa, oh, that's an economic hit. I mean, I think the resource cutoff for Maria Bonita is like 0.2 grams per ton. I think 0.2. So this is twice that, and obviously not at $4,200 gold. So I mean, I think this is going to be a mine. for sure, starting a surface, basically no strip or anything like that. And with the district potential, yeah, I think this could easily become a multi-million ounce gold district. And I'm hoping it's going to be too big for Aura Minerals, basically. I think more like, yeah, someone like Kinross or something would, at the end of the day, take this over unless they start producing themselves. Because obviously Altamira also recently get a trial mining license, and they could probably get into low scale or small scale production within the next 2 years, I believe, and starting off at the central deposit and maybe mining 1.3, 1.5 grams per ton from surface. That could be some meaningful cash flow for a company this size, and they still have that major company exploration potential, which we're finding out with this hole, for example. Yeah, so I mean, I think this is one of the. I think this is very asymmetrical. This Maria Bonita. That the fact that what they already have. I mean, obviously Maria Bonita is going to get bigger, so I'm assuming they're going to get to at least easily, I would think, 2 million ounces just between Central and Maria Bonita. Maria Bonita, I think, could become 2 million ounces plus alone, and Cajero 1 million at least. So then you're at 3 million already, and that's excluding Novosonios, Tavares, Espiro, Mombaque, Tavares Norte, Moro Verde, and these are the ones where they have hit porphyry as well. Guillermo, and it's interesting, you can see the kind of bulge here in the Gabbro dike, so something obviously came up here. Serafim, Cajero Sul, Sosego, Toninho. Yeah, so I mean, there appears to be multiple porphyry bodies here. And Maria Bonita might hold 2 million ounces. They've hit porphyry mineralization, Moro Verde, Tavares Norte. Some might be more copper than gold. I mean, Maria Bonita, I think, is like 4-phase porphyry system or deposit. So, I mean, some might be copper rich, some might be barren, some might only have gold, yada, yada, yada. But the soils here you see are gold in soil. So there's obviously gold, and I mean Novosonios is a really big one, and here you see the bulge as well, and that's a pretty fat bulge. So this I would not be surprised. I'm expecting this to become a major gold camp, and for 80 million CAD with infrastructure, trial mining permit, already 1.4 million ounces. Yeah. I think it's not guaranteed, but I think it's a highly asymmetrical bet. I don't think I don't think it's even pricing in what's already there and how advanced it is. Anyway, yeah. So this is obviously one I like a lot. It's gone up to top 15 in the hodl folio. Again, I think it was used to be, then dropped down. But as they hit this hole, I increased the position, and I'm keeping the position. If it goes lower from here, I might buy more. Note that there's warrants being exercised that are in the money that are expiring on November 6th. So I'm pretty sure that some of the sell orders come from pre-existing shareholders. So there's artificial selling pressure, basically, that's gonna probably go away soon. Another one, I don't know if I talked about it or not, but this was one that I've talked to people who like the predecessor company, like Pampa Metals, etc., or Rugby. It might have been Rugby that owned the Colombian property. But I met these guys at Beaver Creek. Was one of the few stories where I kind of knew about the story, but it's one of the best, let's say, positive surprises coming out of Beaver Creek that I brought home with me in a sense. And it's a pretty simplistic story. in a sense, but I like the fact that it's diversified in a sense to the upside. So if I were just to pitch Andina, for example, I would pitch it like this. It's a sleeper story in a sense that Cobrasco, which is the target or project that most people are mostly excited about. You can see those holes there. First 3 holes. Those are some pretty fat intercepts. Again, going back to Altamira almost. And these are pretty much starting from surface as well. So you have Cobrasco, which is the kind of the main focus, I was going to say. Let's go down there. Cobrasco, Colombia. So this is a porphyry discovery, but these holes were drilled, I think 2021, and then the company that did the discovery, they couldn't do much. I think it was because of let's say problems with the locals. I'm not 100% sure, but now there's a new team. It's an Andina Copper. It's a new company. They brought in experts who are, can do stuff in Colombia. So now they actually announced drilling again. So this is hole 3. Last hole, that was cut short. It bottomed in 2.6 meters or 2.69% copper, 151 parts per million moly, and 7.3 grams per ton Ag. That's what it bottomed in. So this is a whopper of a target. This is Cobrasco North, which they had the 3 holes discovery. You can see there's no scale bar here, but here's 1 kilometer. This is a big, this looks like an entire huge copper porphyry system. And Andina owns this part and this part. And this belongs to, it's a private company, but I heard that, I think, I might be wrong, but it's like Stanley Druckenmiller is in it. The billionaire hedge fund guy. And I think it's an earning with Rio Tinto or something like that. I mean, what's obvious is that, so you have Rio Tinto in here, and I think they're drilling, and they have been drilling. Anybody who, Rio Tinto, for example, will they put a mine here on their claim and not own this? Of course not. So, I mean, if they find something that's like, I don't know, 70% of a Rio Tinto size target here, but with this it goes way above, way above 1% or 100% of a Rio Tinto target. I mean, of course they're gonna acquire this, and of course anybody who's gonna be mining this will own the whole thing, including the 2 claims from Andina. I think they have a private market cap. I've heard somebody said, I think it's like 600 million or something. And who knows, maybe this is actually, this part is actually better than this part. But the point is that this looks like a giant porphyry system, and whoever's going to be mining this, if they mine this, they're going to be owning it all. And since it's giant, it's probably going to be a big company, and they don't care about paying up. You know what I mean? If you're Rio Tinto, if you spend whatever, I don't know what the capex would be, but let's say $6 billion to put this into production or something. I mean, you could easily buy up Andina's claims here. So that's kind of, it's a weird situation, but it's very good. It's very weird in a good way. I would absolutely expect this to get monetized, because I mean the holes that have hit here are great, and the strike is this big, and then it continues. So this is the footprint of a world-class porphyry deposit, and of course that's pretty hot nowadays. And what's that? I mean, I'm not saying this is another philo mining type situation. But imagine if you had a junior that owned, half of the Filo del Sol deposit. I mean, even, and I own that, even Mogotes Metals, who has the extension of the district, let's say, up there, they have around 100 million market cap, but they don't have really a discovery yet. I mean, they don't own parts of Filo del Sol, if you know what I mean. So that's the main flagship. That's the main dish. It's Colombia, so it's a bit high risk and all that. But I mean, again, if you look at the price and then look at the market cap of Andina, which I think is around 80, maybe 100 million now, it's not a lot. Then you have, which they actually led the presentation with, Pequenes. So Pequenes is in Argentina, and they've already made discoveries here as well. You can see 430 meters, 558, 801. Pequena East, maiden drill hole, 208, including 19 meters, so yada yada yada. So they're finding copper porphyries here, and this is, which makes it a bit similar to Cobrasco actually. Look at who the neighbor is. It's Aldebaran's ALTA deposit. Aldebaran has, that's their flagship asset. Aldebaran. They have a market cap of 560 million. And their flagship project, which I think they get most of their value for, is the ALTA deposit. So, assuming somebody's going to buy ALTA, I mean, you can see it's a huge one, 2.4 billion tons. Do you think they're going to pick up this ground as well, or would they just build a mine here and not do anything with this mineralization here? No, I think it's in the same situation. Whoever, if ever, somebody buys Aldebaran, or at least their ALTA deposit, they're going to be staying there for a long time. Obviously, they're going to, mine this stuff as well, whatever they find here. Because the sunk cost will already be in, and to make the most of a big investment, you're going to want to mine that for, decades. Or whatever. So yeah, I think this is also one they could easily monetize. I mean, this for sure is worth something, and that sure helps, because this could be maybe a higher grade starter pit or something, or some of it. I mean, here for example, 800 starts from 54 meters, so it's not a block caving situation. That hole at least. So yeah, I think this obviously looks like it's kind of part of the same system. So in some sense, it's like a Cobrasco deal. But I think you get I think Andina is cheap based on Cobrasco, and I think you get this for free. Then you also get Mantau for free as well, early stage, but they have ground in Chile, close to what are they called? Andina Copper, which is at 1 billion, I think. And you can see Andina has drilled some holes here, and here you have, I think they show, what is it? I thought there was a trend basically. Well, you can, I guess, draw a trend from here where they've hit to here where they hit, and then you have Andina, and you can see some of the samples here, like 28% copper. So obviously there's something going on here. There's some copper here. So they're kind of three different stages of neurology in a sense. With Cobrasco, they own part of the same deposit as Rio Tinto. At Pequenes, they own kind of the extension, I guess, of the Aldebaran's ALTA complex. And here they're basically in the same district as Marimaca. That's three shots. Obviously, any one of them can, in a sense, become company makers. I mean, Cobrasco, I think, is the real company maker, because that's like owning maybe half of a world-class copper deposit. Pequeños is more like you might own the sweetener, or you own something that's at least gonna get mined. It's gonna be worth something to whoever mines Aldebaran, even though it's not like they own half of, well, not that we know of, half of the ALTA deposit. And then we have this, which is early stage exploration. America's Gold and Silver. I talked to them in Stockholm here. Very interested. I'm gonna run through these. So this is one I think is worth taking a look at. I mean, when you look at how well the share price has done, it kinda doesn't really get the contrarian gene going, because it's up, I don't know, 600-700% in the last 1 or 2 years. But it actually, I think, has more to give. If they execute on their plans, I think they're going to get to 5 million ounces, then later to maybe 10 million ounces of annual silver production from the Galena complex in Idaho, so that's in the US. And they're about to get paid from January 1st for their antimony and copper and gold. And antimony, apparently this is the only mine, according to management, that produces antimony right now in the whole US. And obviously antimony is a very hot topic now. So if they used to be punished for antimony, they got less revenue because they were paying the smelter, the tech, they were paying tech to take care of it in a sense. Now it's a critical mineral, and they're about to get paid for it. I don't know exactly the grades, but it seems very significant. So this might become one of the lowest cost silver producers when you account for the byproduct credits in the world, and their flagship deposit is in Idaho, US. So it's a execution production growth story, basically, and they have a mine in Mexico that's about to get better as well. So yeah, run some number. If they actually do execute on this, I think it could do well, and it could also be one where they obviously would like a higher silver price, but they don't need a higher silver price. So that could come with a premium, since the flagship is in the US. Maybe it's very high margin silver, very cheap silver, long-lived asset and all that. Yeah, check that one out. Mayfair Gold, I wrote them up a few years back. They are recently, I had a call with the management team. A lot has happened in Mayfair Gold. There's a new management team since I first bought stock in this story. They have some interesting backing by some funds, and they simply have 4.4 million ounces in Ontario, Canada, which not many juniors can say they have. And they're looking at a staged development scenario, basically. So they're it seems that they really want to get into smaller scale production as quickly as possible. And then basically, yeah, so I mean, it's the deposit in that case would be over dimensioned or oversized for that production profile. But to start with production, and then have 4 million plus ounces in total, which could get then maybe ramped up to a commercial scale. I mean, you could probably do 200,000 ounces a year if you had the permits, given the size of the deposit. So I mean, so it's kind of second part of the Lassonde curve in a sense. Staged development plan in Ontario, Canada. Good backing, good management team. Pretty cheap. It's like, for this amount of ounces in Canada, yeah, that's pretty cheap. I think the market cap is like, I think it's actually less than 300 million CAD. So yeah, pretty obvious one in a sense. I mean, you're buying ounces in the ground, and they want to get this into production, starting off with a small scale. Silver Tiger was also one actually interesting one. Unfortunately, there's no PDF presentation. But it's a district scale lamp package. I talked about this on Key Report as well. They have this is the historical El Tigre mine. Where's the open pit resource? Can we see that a bit better maybe? Maybe not. But the plan is to open pit this stuff, then go underground. Have quite a bit of metals in the ground, and this is the open pit PFS. So after tax NPV of 222 million US, after tax IRR 40%, and I think that what gold price is this? I think it's I don't remember the exact gold price. Low capex 86 million. Oh yeah, okay, so PFS. Base case is silver 26, it's double now. Gold price is 2,150, it's more than, well, it's a bit less than double, so it's around here. After, sorry, after tax NPV, this is just for the open pit, so that's about 1 billion CAD, just for the open pit. And the open pit is not that big, and that's the thing that seems to be holding back the story, because it's Mexico, open pit, you know the drill, hard to get permits. That's what's been holding back the story, I guess. And I mean, you can read in the forum, it's like, yeah, you know, there's been talk about, you know, imminent permits for quite some time now. I mean, it's the same for me in Sonora Gold. I think I don't know what, you know, how the communications have been, but maybe stuff has whatever come up, but I do believe, or I gotta believe, that sooner or later permits will get here. And I mean, that's what I like about this story, for example, that okay, if they already have the permits for the underground portion of this deposit, which I believe is bigger than the open pit, but okay, so it's the open pit permits that's supposed to be the first cab off the rink, first to develop. You first open pit mine it, then you go into underground. So that's holding it back in a sense, because it's the first domino, the open pit mine. And on paper, at today's prices, it's worth $1 billion, like I think 3 times or almost the market cap of the company. So like I like the idea where it's like, okay, the open pit bird in the hand at today's prices is worth 3 times the market cap on paper. Then you have the underground mine, and then you have the district potential as well. So this is the open pit, then you have the underground, okay? Open pit first, and underground, and then you have the exploration. So all of this is in this part here, which is around, I guess, what is that, 3 kilometers something? But they have the entire, you know, district, let's say, trend. So here you have a bunch of scattered mines. So I would be very, very surprised if they didn't make more discoveries. So the thing is, like, again, if we just look at it at face value, the market cap is whatever, 350 million or something. Open pit might be worth $1 billion. Underground, add whatever. There's an economic study that's supposed to come up out with that. And then you have, so all the optionality is like you get 2/3 of the open pit for free, quote. You get an underground mine for free, and then you have all the exploration as additional optionality. That looks pretty cheap to me. It hasn't really followed the other, I mean, I don't know many silver gold developers in this stage with this kind of market cap. But if we assume it's because it's being held back so far because of no permits for the open pit. I mean, that would obviously then be a big thing because, okay, you get the open pit permits, you put the open pit into production, and I don't expect that to take too long. All of a sudden, at these gold prices and silver prices, you'll be printing money to basically probably self-fund the underground development, the underground mine, and that would obviously allow you to drill like crazy if you want to, and explore the rest of the district. So it's like you're paying for a third of the open pit today, and you get this entire picture for free, including 2/3 of the open pit and the underground mine. Yeah, that looks pretty interesting to me. Picked up some shares. Montage Gold. It's also been a stellar. I mean, it's since I put out the article. This was maybe 2 years ago or something. I mean, it's up. I think it's up 900% or something, maybe 1,000% now. And the funny thing is, like, my brother, he still owns a big chunky position. He hasn't sold a share, and I just told him, I talked to the company in Beaver Creek, like, don't sell your shares. If you do some, it's like, I think their fully diluted market cap is 2.7 billion CAD, and you hear that, and I've discussed Montage with some who say, fairly valued. I mean, it looks expensive, and of course, typically you're gonna have a Lundin premium of sorts, which makes anything look expensive in a sense when you compare it to other stuff. But at the same time, it's like when you think about it, they're looking for high-grade satellite deposits. They have a bunch of deposits on top of their Kone Gold deposit, which is a multi-million ounce deposit. So this is the economic study, basically to produce 300,000 ounces a year. Well, more than that first years, and then it drops off. But they have, and this is, where is Kone? Kone should be. Here's Kone. But they have a bunch of deposits, and you can see Kone permit exploration land package key intercepts. They have gold all over the place, so they want higher grade stuff. I mean, 17 at 8 grams per ton, 25 meters of 3. So I'm assuming, and they're fully financed to production or in construction right now. So I'm expecting. I mean, they have a stellar team, stellar backing. Lundin owns a huge chunk. They have investments in other units as well. So if we just play with the idea of them producing not 300,000 ounces to begin with, let's say 400,000 ounces, because they put in some, higher grade stuff there. So imagine 400,000 ounces of production at, let's say, 1,100 ASIC in 2 years. At these gold prices, that's 1.2 billion USD ASIC margin. In CAD, that would be, it's crazy to even think about, but that's how much 400,000 ounces of gold would be worth. I mean, you could look at mid-tiers out there, I was going to say. They have multi-billion dollar market caps, and these guys are some of the best in the biz. So if they have a fully diluted market cap right now of 2.7 billion CAD, and they could potentially, assuming gold prices hold up, be producing over $1 billion in ASIC margin per year in, starting in, let's say, 2 years. It's going to be trading a lot higher than 2.7 billion CAD if that happens. So I actually think Montage, it's weird to say, I think that has multi-bagger potential over the next 2 to 3 years. I don't know, maybe the biggest risk is like Cote d'Ivoire. But it's the Lundins, they're good at it. And long term, I don't think they're stopping at one mine. They have investments in other units like Sunny Gold, African Gold, and yada yada yada. So they basically want to build another endeavor. So if you get a multi-bagger in 2-3 years, I think this Montage as a story is still gonna be growing at that point. So this is one where I wouldn't be surprised if you held this for 5 years, assuming there's no coup or anything like that, you're probably gonna have serious multi-bagger in that time. I mean, it's like take Lundin Gold. They're at $22 billion with their 500,000 ounces of production at incredible low ASIC, of course, but still 500,000 a year, 22 billion. Is it out of the question if Montage starts with like or can keep 400,000 ounces going at from Kone in this area for like the next 5 to 10 years, and then put up another mine or buy another one? Could they reach $20 billion? Yeah, I would think so at these prices. Osisko Development, also a very interesting one. Quinton recently talked about it, of course. I own shares of it. I talked about this months ago, but they're looking to get a 200,000 ounces a year mine from their Caribou Gold project into production, and that could work very well. I think. I mean, assuming everything goes well, I think their current fully diluted market cap is like 1.7 or 1.9 billion CAD. That's not. That doesn't look small. I mean, it's not as cheap on paper as Montage Gold in that case, but it's in Canada, and I mean the deposit which Quinton went through. I mean the district potential is quite absurd, and their idea I think is to ramp up later on to like 400,000 ounces a year. So if it's a bit unconventional, but if they can execute on this, and they're up to 200,000 ounces of production in 2 years, and let's say up to 400,000 ounces of production in 4 years, if these gold prices hang around here and they show the district potential that there's more like 10 plus million ounces, I mean this should be at $10 billion easily in that time. So yeah, I think this also has, again, weird to say, but has multi-bagger potential over the next 2 to 4 years. It assumes execution and some exploration success. Anyway, I've had such a big headache. I gotta wrap this up. Thanks for listening. Assume I'm biased. I own companies. I own shares of all companies I mentioned. Some are banner sponsors, I think. So maybe not. Yeah, some are. So consider me twice biased. Do your own due diligence, not buying or selling recommendations, yada yada. Don't invest money you cannot afford to lose. This is a high risk sector. Thanks for listening. Bye.